I have a very unfortunate tragedy of spells and goblins for you in this story. Join me as I tell you the bitter fate of a young man who was chasing the throne. In the last days of July, wandering hears the steps of a man on the way to the throne. Every night, a beautiful and mysterious mistress returned to her dark and remote home. He would come in and drive some people in town into a frenzy. It is said that the mistress was blind and had dark magic. What caused the fate and ominousness of the people of the throne was his bloody hands and his half-sleepy songs. Anyone who approached that madness was transformed into men who could not escape its captivity. One night, the courage of a brave young man made him decide to face this scourge. He thrived in the darkness of the mysterious house. His steps were silent in the noise of the night. The room smelled of death and screams. In iron chains, inflamed bodies were suspended. Entering a room filled with blood and gore, a beautiful and evil mistress discovers that the brave young man has become just one of her new victims. He stretched out his bloody arms towards the young man and began to sing a sad song. The brave young man looks at the violence of his mistress in the noise of the dark room. He sees all his displaced victims around him in the tiny room. His bloody hands have covered the soulless bodies. The moments of the clock in its mysterious hands. The blind lover brings the dark and comforting songs to the young ears with her soft lips. The terrible voice of the mistress lives in the bloody darkness. The brave young man feels that his hands are gradually connected to a mysterious force. The foul energy of the lover penetrates his body. The steps that once went bravely are now limping and shaking. His goal of fighting has been accomplished. When the brave young man went under the edge of darkness and extended his hands to him, all the light of life was cut off. The screams of the last young victim are silenced in the hands of the mistress. The brave young man plunges into a tragic fall in darkness. His soul is lost in the evil embrace of his lover, and their scary story continues to unknown limits of horror and darkness. In the heart of the darkness and the mysterious curtains of the room, the brave young man wakes up. His eyes slowly open and he breathes heavily. But what he sees shakes everyone. It is surrounded by a limbo of blood. Curtains woven from blood vessels are torn and the ceiling of the room is filled with the blood of men's heartbeats. An ugly and broken sound that flows from under the young body. With every step he takes, he sees him in the opposite mirror. An ugly and corrupted version of himself, a face that laughs evilly. His lips are twisted into a terrible smile. The brave young man feels the core of fear within him, and it is the loneliness that is present in the terrifying room. He tries to escape from the web of terror, from the storm of blood and pain that lurks. But suddenly, he hears the lifeless screams of his mistress. There is a strong smell and crazy laughter. He dreams that his lover's body has disappeared into the room, and now that diabolical beast is looking for him. With every move he makes, the same mystery of evil astrology manifests through his fingers. The brave young man falls between the earth and the sky, in a vortex of fear and apprehension that no matter what he tries, he cannot get out of it. Can the brave young man escape from this evil existence? Or will he, like other victims, get lost in the infinite darkness of this room? The moment the brave young man is shaken and takes a step to escape, an angry wind starts blowing in the room. Outside the window, a demonic trap has been opened, and inside, groups of buried people are preparing to rise. A breathless scream rises as he discovers the blood-stained clothes and quivering veins of the missing lover's corpse. Every step he takes brings death to the gray earth. The brave young man is getting closer to the exit moment by moment, while he is unaware of the powerful wounds that are sleeping in his body. But a bunch of glowing dead bands are revealed and the demonic ruckus is amplified. Under the shadow of infinite darkness, the brave young man is trapped between the lifeless body of his lover and the door of salvation. Dead hands emerge from beneath the gray with a sudden, terrifying force and thrust their bloody daggers at him. Fear takes hold of the brave young man's liver, and only the revolution witnesses his last moments. The hands that gradually take him in their arms, sink him into a black and hellish soil. And just like that, the brave young soul fades into the movement of fruitless risers and disappears horribly into this infinite darkness. Trapped in darkness, the brave young man falls into a limbo of despair and terror belonging to the dead. They walk slowly from all sides of him, pressing the edge of his body with bloody daggers to his sensitive points. His ears are full of happy and devilish sounds. The sound of evil laughter, the vile noise that becomes absolute from different directions, attracts him all. An evil force arrests him and puts him under pressure. The brave young body is in pain. The hot edges of the daggers slowly entered his body, and the feeling of darkness and the cry of instability ruled over his tongue. Electricity passes through his body, and a strong feeling of irritation and burning spreads inside him. Burials around the room reach the edge. The sound of wounding the soil in a cruel way is deafening. The brave young man's bloodshot eyes turned around and saw that a huge gate was standing, a gate that led to the dark and boundless world of demons. The dead gang circle around the brave young man and drag him towards the magical gate of destruction and take him inside. The brave young man is as powerless as this evil force, and his crushed claw crumbles against the dark powers. Is it possible to escape from this bitter and terrible situation? Or will the brave young man also walk in an extraterrestrial land of unattainable terror and destruction? With an inner depth, the brave youth falls into the arms of darkness, along with the Jones and Heels of the dead bands. There is a world of torment that has locked him forever. The ominous gate closes, and the sound of a lock screaming from behind it reaches the young man's ears. He loses all the hope and suffering he carried in his heart to save peace and get rid of this hell. His efforts and struggles were in vain, and now he is trapped in the grip of darkness forever. Once again, evil laughter spreads from all sides. The brave young man sees the fire and the fire extinguishers coming from the walls. The dark smoke fills the room, and with it the fear and unachievability that is wrapped around his existence. In the shadow of smoke and fire, the dead groups are preaching good news and dancing to evil songs, and the brave young man sees the terracotta confrontation of his body and soul unconditionally. He innocently falls in the middle of the darkness as a condition of impermanence. There is no way to escape. The ending, which is sad and bitter, imposes the chains of destruction on the brave young man. Bunches of the dead rush in from all sides and seize him in their dagger-like arms. The devils reveal the immoderate happiness in the presence of the young man, and more than ever they attack his inner evil. And also, the wish to eternally send the brave young man to this dark world is not so easily fulfilled. The life and hope that he had somehow kept until now, ends innocently, and finally all his dreams sink into the red ashes.